Thank you for joining us for another presentation of the Solid Sports Video Blog. This is episode 229. Today's date is April 8th, 2023. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Troy West, and thank you as always for the support on the Solid Sports Gaming channel. Hopefully we'll have a long show today. Sorry about being late. Sort of slept in a little bit today. Yeah, my little job is weighing me out a little bit, but apologize. I usually try to have my blogs up by 10. That was a normal time. I usually have them up by 10:30 in the morning. It's already after 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'm guessing I say about 12:30. It's just like last week, even though last week I got up on time, but it just took so long for YouTube to put the video up. So hopefully we'll have those problems this week. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, sports starting to heat up. We're gonna do something different today. We're gonna do the baseball. We're gonna talk a little baseball, look at the standings, see what's going on with some teams throughout the season. Especially the Tampa Bay Rays is a team we're gonna talk about a little bit. NFL news: Tyreek Hill. Y'all heard about Tyreek Hill? Said he's gonna retire after his contract is done with the Miami Dolphins. We're seeing a lot of NFL players retire early, but he said he wanted to do some things with business and things of that nature, so we'll chat about that. We'll look at the Jets. Seem like they really trying to woo Aaron Rodgers. They keep picking up older players, players that he played with before. And the Joe Mixon situation, we want to touch on it a little bit. Of course, he's in a little bit of trouble. First the case got thrown out, but now it's been revisited again as they refiled the case. So we'll take a look at that. And then we're going to do the NBA last today. Usually I do the NBA in the middle, but we're going to do the NBA last because I'm going to sort of give a little bit of a preview. I'm going to just go deeper to all the teams that's in the playoffs. All the teams, pretty much we know all 20 teams that made it. The play-in teams are still in question. We'll look at all that. And I'll give my full prediction probably next weekend. The next vlog when all the playoff matchups are fully set with all 8 teams in the first round is set. But the NBA play-in starts Tuesday, so we're going to talk a little bit NBA, look at the playoff picture, and talk about the Dallas Mavericks, who's now been officially eliminated from the playoffs and the play-in. They were last night. They pretty much deliberately threw the game. They sat all their best players pretty much, except for Luka, and he only played the first quarter. So Dallas purposely, but still was in that game, almost won against the Bulls. Bulls is a play-in team. We'll talk about all that. And congratulations to the UConn Husky men and the LSU Tigers women. The 2 champions of the NCAA tournaments, women and men, this year. We have an update on the Masters and things of that nature. So but first, let's go ahead and dive into the MLB. Really no news off the field, so we just go take a look at the standings. But the red hot Tampa Bay Rays continue. I think they still undefeated. We'll look at that in a second. As really we only in the second week baseball. Let's look at the standings here. Yep, the Rays are still undefeated. They played the Oakland A's today. But other teams up off to fast starts. My Atlanta Braves are 6-2. The Minnesota Twins are 5-2. Cleveland 5-3. That's all the teams over 500. Baltimore, New York Yankees 4-3. Toronto 5-3 in the East. Boston got off to a high start, but now they 3-4. AL West, Texas and the Angels 4-3. Houston, Seattle 3-5. Oakland 2-5. Mentioned the Braves 6-2. Mets even at 4-4. Then you got the Marlins, the Phillies. A lot of people started to worry about the Phillies. Well, I'm near Philadelphia now, so I hear a lot of Philadelphia talk now. Yeah, the fans are a little bit worried about the Phillies, but I mean, it's only 7 games. I think they're turning around to get back into it, but they're only 2-5. Washington at 2-6. Milwaukee 6-1. Pittsburgh 5-2 to start the season. Cincinnati, Chicago Cubs 3-3. St. Louis 2-5. So Cardinals off to a slow start as well. Dodgers 5-3. Cardinals, Padres 4-4. San Francisco Giants 3-4, and the Rockies are 3-5 to start the season. Now, like I said, it's still early in the season, no big surprises, but I guess if you were to get really deep, I guess the Phillies and the Cardinals in the National League are 2 teams you would think would be there. No big teams that's really standing out. Maybe Pittsburgh, I guess, would be the positive surprise at 5-2. But like I said, it's too early to really go deep into that. American League, maybe the Astros at 3-5. You think they have a better record? Of course, the Rays, impressive for 7-0, which is a franchise record, I believe. But other than that, the American League, looking great. But the Rays, let's take a look at them a little deeper. But I said, for some reason, the Rays, even though, now that I'm looking at who they played Detroit, swept them, played the Nationals and the A's, probably 3 of the worst teams in baseball, and they still play the A's. They get the Red Sox Monday, so we'll see. Now that they go to the division, they get the Blue Jays, but they schedule not that hard. They get Houston the end of this month, so pretty easy schedule. So yes, it's still impressive, but pretty easy schedule so far for the Rays. Let's look at some quick stats. Let's see who's been hot for them and start the season. Oh, Willie Franco lead them in average. Wander Franco, I'm sorry, should know that wasn't Willie Franco, but Randy Arizona, I hope I'm saying his name right, but you know what I'm talking about. He was hot in the World Baseball Classic. He's leading them in hitting as well. But all these names, like I said, none of these names other than him, none of these names jump out at you at all, Let's look at the pitcher stats. But they haven't played any quality teams yet. But still, it's impressive that they started 7-0. We'll see what they do against Boston, even though Boston is under 500, but Boston will give them a challenge. But the rest of that month, other than Houston, they get the White Sox also this month. So Rays might get off to a good start, which is good in baseball to get off to a good start, because you're going to have a week or 2 where you just out of it, or just tread water. So it's good that the Rays got off to that start. But other than that, too early in the season to tell. I mean, some of the good teams still playing well, but especially with the Rays, and I think they really are a good team. But looking at who they played, it's not a big surprise that they're 7-0. Like I said, Tigers, A's, and the Nationals probably going to be the 3 worst teams in baseball this year. So. But that's the thing about baseball as well, because you can look at it this way. You play them 3-4 times in a row in a series, and you can still lose to them. But if you can really beat up on the bad teams, that's what pretty much sets you up for a good record in baseball. Instead of treading water or barely beating them, beating them like this. So I also proved that the Rays might be really a good team. So you can look at many different ways, but like I said, early in the season, good start for the Rays, but that's the talk about baseball right now. So let's go ahead and move on to the NFL. Tyreek Hill, I heard that news. Let me just bring up the article. Hopefully I can find the article still. But he plans on retiring at the 2025 when his contract ends with the Miami Dolphins, which is only 2 years from now, but a lot can happen in 2 years. 2 years though. Yeah, he went on a podcast or like a radio show here, and I'm gonna quote him. He says, "I'm going for 10 seasons, man," and I guess he'll be in the league 10 years after that. Who will be 31 years old when his contract runs out at the 25. So he stole sports radio at Kansas City on Wednesday. So he was talking to the Kansas City fan, in the Kansas City market. He's quoted again, "I'm going to finish out this contract with the Dolphins, and then I'm going to call it quits. I want to go into the business side. I want to do so many things in my life, bro." Which you gotta understand, you know, your career is really much short anyway, as far as compared to the rest of your life. And like I said, NFL players are most of them are starting to do that because, you know, now that you got more information about concussions and things of that nature. You see the older players, how they, you know, when they got older, their health wasn't that great because of the football game. So I commend them for it. Of course, looking at it as a fan, of course, you want the best players to play as long as possible. But if he decides to really do that, who are I or anybody to judge that? I gotta look at it from a life perspective. That it's probably a smart move. Now Miami, I like the Dolphins. Now I don't see them winning the Super Bowl in the next 2 years. This season or next season, well, it's basically 3 seasons left. I don't see it happening unless, you know, something happened with some other teams. Of course, like I said, 3 years is a long time. But as of right now, he might retire without being a champion. I guess that's what probably some fans are going to say. Some Dolphins fans probably don't like what he said either. But that's still 3 years away, and I believe he's not one of the types that's already looking 3 years ahead of time. I think he's going to still give it his all. He's going to be a great player. Okay, there's some more quotes from him. So I really want to get into like the gaming space. I really want to get huge in that, and that's what I'm kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm using my platform to create a gaming team, which hasn't launched yet. It should launch by the end of this month. I'm just gonna sign like different content creators, different athletes. I just be working on that, talking to different sponsors. So he's trying to get into the gaming profession, which is surprisingly a lot of money. Like I said, I wish I was good enough. I think I'm a good gamer, but not good enough to play professionally. So I mean, that's something that's be interesting to see. Okay, still now this is the trash talking part now, as he talks trash to the Chiefs. Chief Keenum, when the Miami Dolphins come to Arrowhead Stadium this year, guess what we gonna do? Guess what we gonna do? I hate to say it, man. I hate to throw up the peace sign against y'all. I hate to do it, but guess what? Y'all, I'm gonna be y'all worst enemy that day. I'm gonna be y'all worst enemy that day. Wow. So Miami comes to Kansas City this year, plays the Chiefs, which should be a good game. I really like the Dolphins. To me, we'll see how the draft goes. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers finally get to the Jets, because that division is tough. I think New England, been hearing news about that, unless they get Lamar Jackson, which I don't see happening, which there's been a rumor. Really the Bills are starting to sort of tap it down a little bit as well. So I think the Dolphins wouldn't shock me if they could somehow win that division, especially if Rodgers don't come to the Jets. And even if he does, I think Rodgers got a lot to prove as well. I think the Patriots right now, you got to say they're the worst team in that division, but the Dolphins have a chance to be a legitimate team in the AFC and in that division. So we'll see how that goes, but if he decides to do it, you know, good for him. Like I said, a lot of NFL players are doing it. The gaming industry is not a bad industry to get in. So it'll just be interesting to see if he really goes through with it. But like I said, 3 years is a long time. He could change his mind. Let's just say he don't win a championship. He might try to hang around for a year or two longer, or he might just change his mind altogether. Maybe, you know, so it's a long way from now. I know some people, I can't say that, but I'm guessing what the temperature is. You gotta worry about today and all this other stuff. But it's good to prepare for the future. Trust me, I know that for a fact. So, but it's gonna be, like I said, the NFL season is gonna be one of the interesting seasons we had in a long time. And we still ain't done yet. So speaking of the Jets, I brought the Jets up. The Jets still signing players that used to play with Aaron Rodgers. They really try to set the stage for Aaron Rodgers, even though they signed the old backup, Tim Boyle, Aaron Rodgers backup in Green Bay. Okay, so they signed the backup quarterback. They used to back up Aaron Rodgers, so that'll make them more comfortable, I guess. They also signed Quentin Jefferson, a defensive tackle, but I don't think he used to play with Rodgers though. Okay, let me get to here. So they really signed, but I'm trying to see, because they signed a lot of players. Of course, Alan Lazard, about a couple weeks ago they signed him, but he I mean, they trying to get Rodgers comfortable. Even though most people say it's pretty much a done deal, it's just win. But like I said, if they do it after the draft, that'd be in the Jets' favor because they don't have to give up as much. If they do it before the draft, maybe the Packers might want a little bit more for this year to try to help them, get some more picks this year. So the draft is in 2 weeks, so it's gonna be interesting to see if he's moved before then. But I think Rodgers will rather wait because I think he's the type, he probably don't, being a veteran, he probably don't want to go to the OTAs and all that, and he's probably not gonna go to the Green Bay ones if he's still in Packers. So I think it's been too much put out there. I think he wants to go. I think the team don't want him there. So I don't expect him to do no off-season workouts with Green Bay at all. So it's gonna be interesting when this thing is done, how they shake out, who got the best of the deal and all that. But only why I say that is, I mean, the Packers, to me, can wait because the Jets, I think the Jets want them as soon as possible because, so you get acclimated with the organization and get around the Jets players, get acclimated. Green Bay can wait because regardless, even if they don't get no picks for this season, they go to Jordan Love, at least that's what they saying. But the Jets need Rodgers now because Rodgers only got, I would say, 3 years max left in the league, my opinion. 3 years max. I think he's gonna play this year for sure, and maybe next year. But after that, I'm not sure about that. So the Jets still gonna have to look for a quarterback eventually, in the sooner future. Green Bay, if Love wind up turning out, it's good. If he don't, then they can be in the market for a quarterback next draft as well. So I think either way, no matter how it goes, I think Green Bay feels good about this because they want to move on from Aaron anyway. The Jets, I think they want Aaron as soon as possible because he don't have that many years left. So they want this thing to happen probably yesterday. So, but the Jets are trying to make Aaron Rodgers feel as comfortable as possible. So when you get there, I guess the better you how acclimated you are, the more familiarity you have, the better you play. So the Jets are definitely trying to do that for him. So we'll keep an eye on this. We've been quiet for a while, but this made the talks come back up again because the Jets keep signing former Aaron Rodgers teammates. So okay. Alright, one more little tidbit to touch on. Joe Mixon, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, got into some trouble recently. They brought the charges back up. Well, the police resubmitted the charges against him. It's a misdemeanor. When I say that, it's not a big deal, but that's sort of good news. It ain't a felony, so most likely he probably don't do that much jail time, no jail time at all. Probably just get fined or whatever. But I'm gonna read a little bit of this article. Cincinnati police on Friday, which was yesterday, resubmitted a misdemeanor aggravated menacing charge against Cincinnati Bengals running back Joe Mixon, stemming from an alleged incident in January. Mixon allegedly pointed a gun at a woman on January 21st, the day the Bengals traveled to face the Bills. That was a playoff game, right? Yeah. The initial charge was dismissed less than 24 hours after it was filed, with authorities stating during the court proceeding that they reserved the right to refile the case upon gathering new information. So, I guess they got new information about it. The decision was reached following the discovery of new evidence during the investigative process, the Cincinnati Police Department said in a statement Friday. To preserve a fair and impartial judicial process for all parties involved, no investigatory details or evidence will be disclosed outside the official court proceedings. So you ain't gonna hear nothing about whatever they found or whatever. So, but it must be something that they can stick for them to refile this case. This is the Bengals. The Bengals on Friday said that the club is aware of the misdemeanor charges have been raised against Joe Mixon, and the team will monitor the situation and refrain from further comment. According to the Cincinnati Enquirer, which is their newspaper, I believe, police records show that the alleged incident occurred less than a mile from Bengals Stadium. Mixon, this is his history. 2017 second round pick out of Oklahoma, spent entirely of his 6-year career with the Bengals. He's fifth in his franchise history with 53-78 rushing yards. He was named to the Pro Bowl in 2021. Alleged menacing incident is one of two notable off-the-field incidents involving Mixon on March 6. This was a couple months ago. About a month ago. Teenager playing a game with toy guns was shot by an individual standing in the backyard of Mixon's home in Anderson Township. According to police, Lamont Brewer, the boyfriend of Mixon's sister, Shalonda, was indicted on one count of felonious assault and surveillance for Mixon, who was a legal gun owner, was seen carrying a gun but did not fire any shots. So that pretty much, to me right there, that part was a little bit unnecessary. I mean, he was involved because it was his home, but he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I mean, he's been in trouble. Like, it's a little bit more here, but he's been in a little trouble before. And even before the draft, he got Dickey was involved in a domestic violence case in college at Oklahoma. That's probably why he dropped to the second round. He's a decent player. A little streaky at times as a player. He comes and goes, but when you give him the ball, he usually make things happen. I think he's good for the Bengals. But this situation, though, he gotta get it, just get it over with. Hopefully it's not too much on him. He might get fined by the league and by whatever authorities is. Most likely he probably don't do no jail time, but don't know him. Like I said, I don't like to talk about athletes when you don't really know their character. But if you just look at his history, like he's a little bit of a hothead at times. Maybe need to just calm that down a little bit. But I love him as a player. I will have him on our team as a running back, or at least a pair with somebody that's complement to him. But hopefully get this over with, get it done with. Bengals can focus on next season, because like I said, as a Ravens fan, the Bengals are now, to me, the class of that division. With Cleveland, to me, I think it's coming, And if Pittsburgh get their quarter, if Kenny Prickett, if he, like I said, if he pans out, Pittsburgh's going to be formidable as well. Then we got our issues with Lamar Jackson, which has been no new news for that, so that's why I didn't really talk about that this week. But yeah, I mean, I think he's just a little bit of a hothead. Need to get himself together, but hopefully this will calm him down a little bit. Go in and get this case out the way and be ready for the season next year. Alright, so that's it with our NFL news for the week. We're gonna move on to the NBA. Like I said, NBA playoffs is coming. There's only 2 days left for the regular season, including this one. So we're gonna look at the standings. Let's see, NBA. Some games last night had some burns on it, but today's games don't really have no impact. Let's see. But I plan on, next weekend I'm definitely gonna dive deep into the playoff matchups. The East to me is set already. Even the play-ins, the West, you still can have teams fall. Like the top 4 is set: Phoenix, Sacramento, Memphis, Denver. Denver is the 1 seed. Yeah, so Denver's the 1 seed, and Milwaukee will have the best overall record. So if they make it to the finals, they will have home court, even if it's Denver. But Denver will be the 1st seed in the West. So let's check out the East first. I'm just gonna go through every team that made the playoffs, because the playoffs teams are set. With Dallas being eliminated, the West, the 10 teams are set, but it's just positioning now here. So Milwaukee's 1, Boston's 2, Philadelphia's 3, Cleveland's 4, that's at 5, New York. So the East is pretty much set. So we already know the first round matchup is going to be Cleveland, New York, which I've been saying for weeks, and Brooklyn against Philadelphia. You expect Philadelphia to win that series, probably no more than 6 games. Cleveland, New York, that's going to be a great series. If I had to pick somebody right now, I would leave Cleveland, but the Knicks have fought this year, and Boston, Milwaukee will have to wait on Miami. Atlanta will play to get the 7th seed. The winner of that will play Boston, and then the loser will have to play the winner of Toronto, Chicago, and then the winner of that game will play Milwaukee in the first round. Now, I don't think no matter which of these teams are, I think Milwaukee and Boston will advance. But I guess I could say right now the Eastern Conference Finals will have to be Boston, Milwaukee. And I know it seemed paper, chalk, but Philly has a chance to upset that, because I think Joel Embiid against Boston could be a problem. But Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I don't think they have nobody. Now they have some rough riders that could guard, like PJ Tucker. Can he rise to the occasion? And Tobias Harris, they'd be the people guarding those 2 guys. But can they do it consistently enough? I think it'd be a good series, but I would give Boston the edge. So I would say Milwaukee, Boston is my Eastern Conference Finals. The West, like I said, the first 4 teams I said: Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, Phoenix. Those are the 4 seeds. That's how it's going to go. They're set in stone. So that's why it's hard to predict, because I think Phoenix is hot with Durant, even though they lost last night, but Durant didn't play. So it'll be interesting who Phoenix gets. So that's why I want to wait to really gauge who I think will make the Western Finals. Clippers, I think the Lakers still have a shot to get to 5, I believe. New Orleans, Minnesota, OKC is pretty much, that's where Minnesota will be 9th, OKC going to be 10th. So, well, can Minnesota move up to 8th? I guess they can. Still move up. They might could get to 6 too. I don't know. It is like 2 days left, so. But I guess I just say right now, if I had to pick 2 teams right now, I say Phoenix and Memphis. I like the way Memphis playing. I think, like I said, I think Ja Morant is focused after all the troubles he had. I think that they played together longer than all the rest of these teams have just been thrown together recently. So I think they give Memphis an edge. So I really like Memphis in the West period, but I'll give my prediction next week once all the playoff matchups are set. And Phoenix just because they just got the best team on paper. But any of these teams can make a push. Lakers are dangerous because of AD and LeBron and the players that's playing around them playing better right now. You can't count out the Warriors with their championship pedigree. Clippers has a good team as well, but you know they've been hitting they wall on the ceiling. Gotta give Denver some respect. Only thing I worry about Denver is like can Jokic take away do it his own. Somebody's going to step up and be that strong second guy. Is it going to be Jamal Murray? Is it going to be Michael Porter Jr.? That's what I worry about with Denver and their defense as well. The Kings are wearing the Kings hat. The Kings, everybody dismissing the Kings. That's how I want to see who they get in the first round now. I will admit this, they don't have the experience as all other teams have, but they're not a 3rd seed for a reason. I ain't gonna dismiss the Kings yet, but I want to see who they play. But just watch out for the Kings. I'm not gonna just throw them away yet. New Orleans, Minnesota. I think Minnesota. If the Carl Anthony Towns would have played more, maybe they would have a higher seed first of all, and then maybe they would be more into the play with each other. But they made some moves at the trade deadline, getting Mike Conley instead of D'Angelo Russell, who's with the Lakers now. Anthony Edwards still young. I like their team. I think they can push somebody because of their talent, but I think like I said, it sort of seems like they've been thrown together as well with the changes they made. New Orleans, if they had Zion, I would say they would be a wild card, but they already say he's not playing in the play-in. So if New Orleans wind up making it and getting into the first round, will Zion come back for that? I guess we'll see. But the West is wide. Basically, the West is wide open, man. Like anybody could come out of here. But I've had to pick 2 teams that I would probably guess will make it to the Western Finals is Phoenix and Memphis. That's who I'm looking at right now as the 2 top teams in the West. Like I said, Denver will have a lot to say. Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Kings. I think all those teams have a legit argument. I think New Orleans and Minnesota, like I just explained. OKC, I think a year or 2 away, they're going to be a contender in the West because they're young. Sagorius Alexander, he's a great player. I think once they get they full team together, they're going to be a good team as well. And I said they was going to make the play, and I just thought, I thought New Orleans was going to fall, and Dallas will stay up. But so that's pretty much how things are going. It'll be more clear tonight, I guess, once these games. There was only 3 games today, but tomorrow, of course, we'll really know. And next Saturday, I give my full prediction who I think will make the finals, who I think will win it all. But if I had to leave with one team, I would say Milwaukee, just because of Giannis. And like I said, they still had the best record in the league with all the up and down injuries with Chris Middleton and everything else that the Bucks injury-wise went through. They still had the best record in the NBA. So a lot of people think Boston is their kryptonite, which could be. I mean, I could argue that Boston have owned them the last couple of years, but I think Boston is a bad matchup for them because, like I said, they don't have nobody to guard Tatum and Brown. on a consistent basis. So, and I think that's what's going to be Philadelphia's problem. So I think Philadelphia actually have more guys that can do it than Milwaukee can. But I think Joel Embiid makes Philadelphia dangerous. I mean, which I said, because who's going to guard him now? If he go against Milwaukee, him and Giannis, that'd be a great matchup. But I think ain't nobody on Boston can guard Embiid consistently. So I think he could maybe overshadow Tatum and Brown. So it's gonna be interesting. That's why we gotta wait. We'll see what the play-in matchups are. I think the East is pretty much set. Like I said, it's gonna be Miami, Atlanta for the 7 and 8. 9, 10 is Toronto, Chicago. I think that's pretty much set. The West, like I said, we don't have no idea, but we know what the 10 teams are. So next week we're having more deeper prediction. I might have to do 2 shows. I might do a show just talking about the NBA, and then do the rest of this blog. So I might actually do 2 shows next week. I'm thinking about either doing that or just going live and just getting the just like I kind of did here, get the other news out the way, and then focus on the NBA. So can't wait for that. The NBA playoffs is a great time of year, and I get my TV together so I can watch some games, man. So but I wanted to go deeper into the Dallas Mavericks. I did write them on here. Let's go back to the status, because it's, like I said, there's a couple of teams that I'm gonna point out all the teams to me that sort of was disappointing. You know, so surprise. Of course, the Kings is the biggest surprise, probably to everybody. Cleveland, to me, I give Cleveland credit as well. I didn't think Cleveland would be this good. I thought they would be good, a playoff team, but not this good. Give the Knicks credit as well. The Knicks stepped up this year. In the East, I thought Atlanta, like I said, I thought Atlanta would be better. I thought Toronto would be better. I said that all season long, those 2 teams. The Wizards, I don't know. And the Pacers as well. The Pacers started off so well, then they just fell off. In the West, like I said, really, Dallas, you gotta say they're the biggest disappointment. Everybody thought New Orleans would be better. Probably, you know, they was the 1 seed at one point in the West early in the season, but Zion got hurt, so Zion is a big part of what gives them an edge. It's clear. But just to stay on the Dallas Mavericks, of course, the trade for Kyrie wound up not working, basically. And I think it could work. I think it can still work. We'll see. They're going to explore things in the offseason. He might wind up just being here for this little bit of time. He might wind up leaving again. But I think they got to establish who runs the offense as far as like somewhat of a point guard, or different nights. Like pick, if you got a better matchup, maybe that player should be like the number 1 scorer, and the other player can set up the other. But I think it could work. And I like their team overall. I just disappointed how they. I was disappointed that they gave up though. I think they should have tried to make the play in at least. Even though realistically they probably would have. Even if they got out the play in, they probably would have won. I don't know. I can't say that because the West is so open to me. I feel like 1 against 8 this year. Whoever Denver gets, I think they're going to have a challenge. Whoever Denver gets, I don't think it's going to be any sweeps in the West throughout the whole postseason. I'd be shocked if anybody gets swept. It's just it's too wide open. So I think that's why I think Dallas should have went for it. But as well as the organization, they decided. I heard Jason Kidd last night basically said it was out of his control. He said he agreed with it, but he said that's his boss, so basically he just did what his boss told him to do. That's what he's saying, but that don't necessarily mean he didn't agree with him. But you can read that in between the lines. But I was disappointed that they did that. But I heard some deeper stuff like this. The Kristaps Porzingis trade. If the pick is I think if it's not a lottery pick or something, I forgot exactly what it means. It will go to the Knicks. So they in the lottery, so they will keep that pick. So it'll be a decent pick. So I guess they're thinking about it that way, that they will at least get a top 10 pick, because it's 10 teams, right? So then after the play-in, it'd be another 14. I don't know if those teams still be in the lottery or not when they make the play-in. So I think that's why. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it deeper, but at the same time, as a competitor, and me, I kind of like the Mavs. I kind of like Luka Doncic. I like Kyrie. I like it. I like him. Period. So I kind of just wanted to see him go further than in the season, but the organization decided to pull the plug, so they did. So just gotta wait till next year to see Luka again. But I think this is going to help Luka as well, because he plays overseas and stuff like that, so he get a little bit of rest. And I think Dallas, depends on the offseason. If they do things right, they could be right back up there in the West. Like I said, the West is wide open, so the offseason is going to be huge for a lot of teams to try to stay in that contender window. So we'll see what the Mavs do. Okay, so that's it. But like I said, next week we'll know what the matchups are, the first round matchups are, so I'll get my full predictions then. But like I said, Milwaukee, Boston, to me, no matter, even though it's pretty much set in the East, I think that's going to be an East Finals. The West, like I said, I'm just saying Phoenix and Memphis, but I could change my mind depending on who they get in the first round, because Phoenix will get pushed no matter who that fifth seed is. And Memphis, even though at 2, like I said, they'd be the 2 seed. Whoever might have fallen to that 7th spot, it's not going to be easy to be there. It could be Minnesota. That'd be fun if it's Minnesota again, even though I don't think it can be, right? I don't know if Minnesota could move up that high, but that'd be fun. That was a fun first round series last year, and I think that would be fun if it's Minnesota again. No, it's not going to be a cakewalk for nobody in the Western Conference at all. So okay, so let's see how much time we got. We got a lot of time, but we got some time. Final thoughts. Congratulations, like I said, to the NCAA basketball women and men champions, the LSU Tigers winning over the Iowa Hawkeyes last week, and the Yukon Huskies beating the San Diego Aztecs in the championship game in the men's side. Let's touch on it real quick. I think I touched on it a little bit last week, because I think it happened. No, it happened after the Angel Reese situation with the Iowa player Caitlin. Like I said, I don't know. I think sometimes people read too much into stuff, but if she feel like she was judged too harshly, I'm just gonna defer to that. Basically, the Iowa player, who is white, to have that, was doing the little John Cena you can't see me thing every time she scores. She was outstanding throughout the whole tournament. So Angel Reese did it back, and people got up in an uproar. So now that I don't get what was the uproar for. It's just it ain't like she put a middle finger up. It ain't like she called her a racial slur or anything like that. It was just trash talking against trash talking. But and this could be true. I just try not to always jump on the it's a racial thing bandwagon all the time. But it's hard to argue that sometimes when people react the way they react when there's a black woman or a black person, especially in the men's side, expressing themselves, talking a little trash. It was too much to me, too much of a outraged about how was she done, and she made it known. You know, she was saying, you know, just because I'm black and this and this and that, you know, so she felt like it was. Then the weird thing, the president, well, the first lady, Jill Biden, because you know all the champions from every sport goes to the White House, so she wanted to invite Iowa too. I was like, see, that's, to me, that pushes that narrative that it is like a race thing, you know, like why do that? Like, why, you know, just why for this? Well, her excuse was, Miss Biden's excuse was, she was at the game, she see how hard Iowa played and blah blah blah, and basically to me she felt sorry for him, because that's the only way I can see it. They didn't win the game. You don't get that privilege. The winners get the privilege of going to the White House. I think it should stay like that. So I don't agree with that at all. But then with that narrative out there, it just makes it smell funny, you know what I mean? So with me, overall, like I said, it don't matter what your race is. If you get beat, I'm not saying you should get disrespected. Somebody should call you any names or anything like that, but if you get beat, stop from scoring, or stop them from beating you. You don't have to worry about the trash talk. You throw the trash right back in their face when they lose. So that's how I always been. I'm a competitive person as well. It might not seem like it, but I get competitive. But I also try to, you know, when people talking trash, I say, okay, you know, in my mind I say, all right, you got me. But once I win, or if I come back and win, or, you know, I change this thing around, you better have no side race when I start talking my trash. And that's it. That's what competitive sports, video games, whatever you do is all about, you know. Still have respect for each other, but, you know, you gotta take it as motivation to get better. You can't go cry in a corner every time you lose, because you'll be in the corner a lot, trust me, for life, period. So but I think it was overblown on so many different angles. It's hard to argue the race thing, because like I said, she is black. Angel Reese is black, and, you know, seemed like she couldn't express herself, so I think it was unfair. But congratulations to the LSU women, congratulations to you, UConn. I was right about them, by the way. Well, once they got to the Final Four, I didn't do no big bracket or whatever, because I wouldn't have picked them then, but they wound up with it. So let's look at the Masters, of course, of this weekend. Happy holidays, by the way. I thought I had to work today, man, but I got sort of screwed out of that. But I'm glad, because I was able to do the blog, because I was going to make an announcement that I wasn't going to be able to do it, and or I was either going to postpone it, I was going to do it later on in the day, or I was going to do it tomorrow. So okay, here's your leaderboard. By the way, Tiger Woods, he did make the cut, but he's not in contention. But Brooks Koepka is leading right now by 2 shots over Jon Rahm. He's second with 10 under. Koepka with 12 under. Sam Bennett 8 under. He's third. So we got 2 Americans in the top 3. Well, we got 3 Americans in the top 5. As Victor Hoven, I think that's a Sweden flag, Sweden flag. Sorry, he's 6 under, tie with Colin McGuire, who's an American, 6 under. So, I mean, I watch a little golf. With Tiger's playing, but you know, Tiger's you know, a little older, and also, you know, just, you know, everything he's been through. You're never going to see the same Tiger again, but you always just hope that he does. But I follow golf a little bit, not much. But that's your Masters leaderboard. I'm sure some people out there already up there playing right now. It's round 3, and then the final round is tomorrow, and somebody will get a green jacket. But I think Koepka probably gonna hold on to it. He's pretty good, so I think he might hold on to the league and win the thing. So okay, so that's our blog for this week. Thank you guys, like I said, for being so patient with me. We're already at 12 noon here on the East Coast. Hope everybody do enjoy the Easter holiday. For the channel, I'm gonna do some Resident Evil 4 and Ratchet and Clank today. Ratchet and Clank is pretty much almost done. Resident Evil 4, we still got a long way to go. You'll see some videos of that today. Possibly some Call of Duty. I would say possibly because I only pretty much pick and choose what I share with that. But season 3 starts next week, so it'll be a video of definitely that coming soon. Let's see what else we got going on. MLB The Show 23 sooner than later, maybe by the end of this month. I just got some more important stuff to take care of. Like I said, I just got here to New Jersey. Still trying to get my ID. I was lucky yesterday. I was able to cash my check yesterday. So I was lucky about that. I found a place where I could cash my check, so that's great news. But I gotta get things organized. I gotta get stuff for my room, things of that nature. So I'm gonna hold off on any, new games and stuff right now. I gotta save a little money. So but I announce it when it's time. And like I said, Wednesday is normally my strong day when I do a lot of videos as far as the game playthroughs and stuff. So Wednesday and today, and I might do a little tomorrow as well. So just stay tuned. Put your notifications on. This video should post see around 12:30, just like last week. Hopefully it's not a problem with YouTube, but and I like I said, I've been stuck on 140 subscribers for a while now. Now I'm under 139, so I don't know, some people are subscribing. I don't know what's going on, but it's cool. Maybe one of these games will push it a little bit. I got a feeling it's gonna be Crash Team Rumble. I think once I get that up and running, that's gonna push the channel a little bit up again. But yeah, next week, like I said, next week with the blog, we'll have more NBA coverage. We'll know who the playoff teams are. We'll know what the matchups are. So stay tuned for that next week. Thank you guys so much for the support. As always, thank you, my friend Yvette Shockley. This is her home. Like I said, she let me. I'm in her living room recording right now. So I always thank her every week because it would be possible if she didn't let me come here from home where I was from Baltimore. Like I said, I'm supposed to be setting up the basement here, so my venue might change again in a little while, but for now this would be the venue. But I thank her a lot. I always thank her. I told her that even though she don't watch much, she's not a sports person, but I told her every week at the end of my videos I thank her every time, so definitely go and do that. I always fit that in. And thank all you guys. Like I said, thank all my loyal supporters. Shout out to my man, Good Vibes. Hopefully hear from you soon, bro. Hopefully you're doing well at school. Hopefully you getting a good spring break in. Thanks for your support. Everybody from the past, present, and future. Thank you. And look out for the videos today. I'll probably get on, I'll probably do a Resident Evil 4 video first, and I'll probably talk a little bit on that. But thank you guys so much for the support. And I'll talk to you guys next week. I don't know what else to say, guys. Thank you so much. Every day's going good here. It's a little, a little bumpy road, some off, behind the scenes stuff going on as always, but I'm pushing through it, and I thank you guys for always supporting me. So with that being said, that in episode 229 of the Silent Sports video blog, I'm Troy West saying thank you so much. Enjoy your Easter weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much. Peace and love always.